Live in accordance with nature and why it's good. What does that even mean, bro? Like genuinely, what does that mean? That's probably what you're wondering. And well, listen, your boy Kage I can explain everything, bro. I can explain everything, right? So what does it mean by living in accordance with nature? Now, I've been reading a lot of books lately, and one of the books that kind of hammered this home for me was Marcus Aurelius' Meditations. Shout out to Marcus Aurelius. He's literally a goat. But as I was reading the book, he constantly kept saying to himself, like, be sure, and he kept reminding himself, right, to be sure to live in accordance with your nature. Be sure to live in accordance with your nature. And when I first read it, I was like, what does it mean for a human to live in accordance with nature? Like, doesn't that mean, like, you know, I'm just spreading my seed and drinking as much as I can and just indulging? Because that's at first what I thought, you know, living within my nature as a human, right, was to just indulge in my desires, kind of almost like every other animal, right? But that's it right there. That's what made me think, like, what makes me so different as a human compared to anything else that lives within its own nature, right? So for example, a tiger, a cheetah, a giraffe, each of these animals have to live within their nature. They are literally hardwired, basically coded to operate a specific way, and they cannot break their algorithm. They can't break their algorithm, right? So a tiger, you know, it needs to reproduce, it needs to hunt to get food, and it needs to drink water, but it doesn't do anything else. It's hardwired to survive, and that's what it means to live in your nature for a tiger. But for humans, it's different, because I also thought, well, I'm a human, I'm an animal, right? So living according to my nature is to indulge in my desires or my needs for survival, just like any other animal on Earth. But that made me think, what makes humans different to other animals? Well, humans have an ability that literally no other animal within the known universe has, and that's conscious, rational thought. Now, I know this is a lie, guys, but just hang with me, because I think the message after this video is all said and done, you're like, oh damn, bro, kinda cooked. I'm gonna start living like this. And I'm a cook. You just gotta give me a second. So for a tiger to live within its nature, you know, it just does as it operates. You know, it needs to survive, it needs to eat, it needs to reproduce. That's a tiger's nature, or a giraffe, or whatever else. But humans are different. Just like I said, we have the ability of conscious, rational thought. No other animal has that. So we're special in that sense. So obviously, you guys know what consciousness is. You guys are hopefully conscious right now. You guys chose to consciously pick or click on this video. Some people probably aren't conscious because they're just mindlessly brain rotting and scrolling on TikTok every day, slowly deteriorating their fucking brain cells. I don't know, dude. But you guys know what I'm saying, right? You guys know what consciousness is. You know, all humans are conscious. But then I also said conscious, rational thought. Now that's the key fucking word, bro. Rationality, bro. It's like dude, like once I figured this out, bro, Marcus Aurelius cooked. This motherfucker lived thousands of years ago and he fucking cooked. But let me explain, right? So you guys know what consciousness is, but you have the ability to have conscious, rational thoughts. So what does rational mean? So rationality is essentially living in accordance with reason, logic, and facts, rather than emotion and desires. So let me give you an extremely simple example, is a fat person. Yeah, a fat person lives irrationally because they are making the conscious, irrational decision to eat a fucking pack of Oreos and you know, suck up 5,000 calories within a span of like 30 minutes, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, based on the evidence and based on the fact, it's very obvious if you exceed your calorie intake, you will not only get fat, but it also leads to a plethora of other negative side effects. So that is one extremely small example of living irrationally, rather than if you were to do the opposite and live rationally, in which you don't give into your desires or emotions and live according to logic, truth, and reason, then you would know going to the gym is extremely healthy for your physical body, and not only your physical body, but your mental state as well. There's been countless studies that indicate physical stress is extremely beneficial for not just the body, but the mind as well. And all the other things that, you know, you build as going to the gym. You know, you look sexy, you look hot, bro. You build discipline, and discipline's an extremely, extremely important skill. So being fat and then going to the gym are examples of living irrationally and rationally. So I'm gonna take it back really quickly to the beginning of the video. Like I said, live in accordance with nature and why it's good. There's not a single choice you can make that is irrational that will be good for you. Nothing irrational will be good for you. Only rational choices or actions are good for you. So when I was reading the Marcus Aurelius book, like I said, I was like, okay, like I'm an animal. Like I didn't understand. Like, what do you mean live by my nature, bro? Like you want me to like just start spreading my seed, bro? Like go up to any girl and just do what I want to do? Like, no, that's not, you don't as a human being, we're special in that sense where, yes, you have those desires, but you also have divine power of conscious, rational thought. That is something that no other animal within the known universe has. That's something that only humans have. And so whenever you live irrationally, it never is a net positive for you. It's always a negative. Whether the negative comes now, it comes in a week or 2 or 3 months or a year, living irrationally is always a net negative. And the ultimate rational and irrational like war is politics, bro. It's straight up it's so gross. But if you say, oh, I'm a liberal, or I'm left, or I'm a conservative, I'm right there, you're living irrationally. You've chosen to confine yourself and all your beliefs into one box to define who you are. But that's not how it works. You're a human and you have different beliefs, different experiences, and different desires from another person who's in your same box that you've labeled yourself as. You're not left or right. You are you, and you have your own beliefs. So if anybody tells you they're liberal or they're conservative, they're already living irrationally, at least in my opinion. Because most of the time, that means they blindly follow their side. They have their candidates, and if their candidate says something, then they're like, oh, that must be true, without even doing a smidge of research on, researching the facts. And that's what a rational person would do. Another really simple example would be flat earthers. It's crazy that we're in the big 26 and people still believe the earth is flat, bro. Like, I just don't understand that. There is mountains and mountains and mountains of evidence, research done that the earth is round, bro. Like you're telling me that when the motherfucker who discovered the earth was round all those years ago was like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna say this, but then make sure we're lying. We're lying to the public. We're lying to everybody for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years into the future, and make sure we spread this lie that the earth is round, but actually it's flat and there's a firmament and you can't leave. You're telling me for hundreds and hundreds of years these researchers have been on this in this lie, bro? Like, that is living irrationally, bro. You refuse to live in accordance with reason, logic, and facts, and rather base your beliefs on emotions and desires and feelings. Now, obviously, for flat earthers, I'm sure there's evidence that they claim to point that the earth is flat, but you guys understand what I'm saying. I was watching this YouTube video, and I'm not gonna say who it is because I don't want to out anybody. I was watching a YouTube video, and this guy was basically saying how he's single and he's talking to this girl. He talked to this girl for a couple weeks, and she's a baddie. Like, he was saying she was a baddie, bro. 10 out of 10, drop dead type shit, right? He's eager to find the one. So, he goes on this date, a couple red flags here and there, but he's like, you know what? It's whatever. And by the way, he knew what he was getting himself into. He saw the red flags along the way, but he decided to live irrationally and kept it going. So, for a week or two, the red flags keep building up and building up. This girl she's a little crazy. She posts weird things on social media. She's like spam calling him 10 times within an hour, asking where he is, even though, they're 2 weeks into talking, bro. They're just talking, you know what I'm saying? And so for 2 weeks of the red flags building up, the guy was like, I can change her. I know I can. That's you living irrationally. So if, dating culture is another way to live rationally or irrationally. If you find a baddie, right? And like, you're single and you're like, damn, bro, like, the dating market is cooked, but I found a baddie, but she's literally crazy and has a million red flags. In the back of your mind, it's not going to work. Yet you entertain it because of your desires, because of your emotions. The right thing to do if a girl has a bunch of red flags and in the future it's going to lead to problems. That is living irrationally. Nothing good comes from living irrationally. Only rational thought and rational actions or rational decisions lead to good outcomes. Now, I'm not trying to tell you to, live literally a perfect life. You can't obviously live a 100% rational life. That means every single decision you make, you have to put thought behind it. You don't have to. If you want to, chill and play some video games, the evidence indicates that you probably could put your time to better things, right? But who fucking cares? What I'm just trying to say is, in the day-to-day, and I'm still practicing this as well, but when I did learn this, it did change my life, and it did low-key make me happier. And ever since I adopted this, live in accordance with my nature, I have been happier. That is something I would want you guys to take away from this video. If there's like a big decision coming up, if you can't decide on something or you get extremely emotional, just stop and think for a second. If you're in an extremely emotional state, you have every right to feel like that. You're a human, you have emotions, you have every right to feel like that. But how will your emotions solve the problem? They won't. They never do. Emotions never solve anything, bro. Because if you live an irrational life, literally that makes you no better than the fucking tiger, the fucking giraffe, bro, that are, you know, in the Saharas or wherever the fuck they are. I don't fucking know. That's the one feature that makes humans different than any other animals within the known universe, is that we have conscious, rational thought. And if you don't live according to human nature, your conscious, rational thought, you are no better than an animal. You are literally just your desires and your emotions, and you are no better than the freaking lion that just sees, you know, the lioness baddie and wants to clap her cheeks and, you know, just eat food and drink water all day. You're no better than them. Humans literally have a divine gift blessed upon them, whether you believe in God or not. This is something that we have that nothing we know else has. And if you live in accordance with it, you will have a net positive within your life. Well, that's it. Thank you guys for coming to my TED Talk. If you guys took away anything from this video, let me know what you guys took away from this video. All I'm saying is Marcus Aurelius literally cooked when he said, live in accordance with your nature, bro. I get it now. I get it, okay? I highly recommend you guys go read Marcus Aurelius' Meditations. Great book. If you guys haven't, you know, you guys can go watch my book video too, because I'm not gonna lie, that was a banger video. But yeah, guys, just try to live rationally. You don't gotta do it perfectly, because I'm no perfect god. I'm retarded too. So you know, we can all be retards together. But you know, every once in a while, stop for a second and be like, damn, I literally have a superpower that no other species has. But thank you guys so much for watching and listening. I love you guys so much. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and I'll see you guys in the next one.